In 2001, Nintendo published a quirky Nintendo 64 social simulator in Japan. Animal Forest, a game that set players in a town of eccentric animals, was well received, so much so that Nintendo released it again on GameCube the same year. That second release came a month after Super Smash Bros. Melee, and the fighting game made sure to give a few of its characters cameos. For international players who'd only get what would be titled in the West as Animal Crossing over the next few years, their origins were labeled simply Future Release. After this modest inclusion, Smash Bros. Would always make sure to save a good seat for Animal Crossing. It was only sensible. The second game, Wild World, sold 11 million copies, and it came out in 2005 when Super Smash Bros. Brawl started development. And though a fighter from Animal Crossing was snubbed, the franchise still got a lot of material. It was the first series to get a stage despite lacking a character, along with music and more trophies than many fighters got. And in 2014, Animal Crossing got a fighter, and special placement. The Villager, the avatar character each player uses to explore their town, was the very first character announced for Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS and the Wii U. It was a clear statement of intent. We're bringing this series fully into the fold. Villager would later grace the cover for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, a role they'll almost assuredly enjoy in any future Smash game. But for a character from such a popular game, they came with a truly bizarre moveset. Their every move derives from something they do in Animal Crossing, a series whose actions revolve around tending flowers, catching bugs, and popping balloons with a slingshot. Smash 4 would become somewhat notorious for newcomers who'd use even the tiniest, flimsiest pre-existing inspiration for moves, a model with potential pitfalls, and not the Animal Crossing kind. Many players struggled to exploit these moves at the start. It was easy to lose fights. But is this moveset a pitfall? I don't think so. It's got its secrets and its strengths. So for Villager, let me employ the services of a man who knows a lot about never losing. Patrick Swayze in Roadhouse, my favorite movie. Let's go through his 3 simple rules.
1. Never underestimate your opponent. Expect the unexpected.
Villager's weaknesses are legion. Their speed is poor. Their grab is slow too, even if its range is wide. They're floaty, which can make them easy to control but open to attack. But it's their moves that are the biggest hurdle. They have odd ranges and positions, making them hard to use quickly or immediately. Spamming them isn't an option. All 3 of their smash attacks have an immensely small hitbox, and one of them doesn't even have launching power. They have to be ready to fight opponents who are, most likely, possessing stronger, wider, faster moves, any one of whom could send Villager into a KO. Because of that, Villager often begins each match at a disadvantage, and finding a way to reverse that is their goal. In one case, that reversal is explicit. The fighter can pocket just about any projectile their opponent can throw for later. Other times, it involves keeping them away with a slingshot or active weeding, but they play an odd kind of high-wire defense compared to the series' many heavyweights. This kind of defensive play works because the mayor of Smashville is a trickster in their own right. Their down smash, burying their opponent alive, is a weird but deadly trappy move that sets up a painful drop of a bowling ball. Hurts, don't it? Their up smash is easy to dodge, sure, but it's got the kick of a mule. And their dash attack looks embarrassing since you're tripping and dropping a pod sapling, but that pod's still a projectile, one that can hit fighters coming back to the stage. You can be fighting the highest tier guy in the world and you smash his recovery and he'll drop like a stone. On the side, Villager's more limited popularity gives them a bit of a secret weapon, and that players tend to study them less. People at the top of the competitive brackets know how to counter Fox and Marth and Diddy, but Villager, they're less of a threat. So it's not unlikely your opponents will also need to expect the unexpected.
2. Take it outside. Never start anything inside the bar unless it's absolutely necessary.
Villager's obtuse and limited abilities make them a master of the stage. The tripping dash attack, that carries more range than almost any other of its kind. The burying move, that uses the ground up to your advantage. They look silly and soft, but moves like this make it very easy for a Villager to camp, to stay safely in one spot of the stage, or manipulate the environment. This is where their floatiness comes in handy, letting them pull off their excellent aerial moves with ease. Unsurprisingly, this extends to high-level edgeguarding. The preteen politician has plenty of ways to keep rivals from making it back to the stage, the kind of talent that perfectly matches with defensive play. It may seem slower and passive, but it's anything but. Their specials are perfectly suited for this playstyle. Villager has 2 recoveries in Balloon Trip and Lloyd Rocket, and they're both great. The former goes so far that players can safely get close to the lower blast line and take out a struggling rival. The latter's a projectile that can force opponents' hands. Villager's down special, Timber, is a rare move with its own 3-act plot. They plant a seedling, water it so it grows into a tree, and chop it down with 2 swings of an axe. Depending on when you use it, it's immensely powerful. The tree's growth and fall both carry a ton of knockback, and still quite risky. Moves like Timber make it a breeze for a kid this enterprising to run this game.
In 3, be nice.
Villager's announcement for Smash 4 came with a flood of memes. People looked at the axe, the gleam in their eye, that unwavering smile, and instantly imagined a serial killer. And high-level Villager play is a bit scary, but in the game, their friendliness is a lot more charming. Their round softness is pleasing, their taunts even more so.
Ask him to walk. Be nice.
Villager's moves push this. Their tilts, their most easy to use and well-ranged attacks, look slow and calming. They have an air of pleasantness. Their vacuous smile looks less like a badly disguised murderer and more like someone who's just happy to be here. Someone who counts none amongst their enemies.
If he won't walk, walk him, but be nice.
In fact, this niceness was actually a problem for them before their invitation to the roster. Smash Bros. Creator Masahiro Sakurai chose not to add them to Brawl's roster because their unassuming nature and pacifist series made them not suited for fights. It's silly given how many game genres have fighters representing them, but I get it. Smash ain't the kind of place where they, say, sweep up the eyeballs after closing, but Animal Crossing is far softer even still. Would combat harden it too much? As it turns out, no. No, it wouldn't.
If you can't walk him, one of the others will help you, and you'll both be nice.
I'd argue that Villager's color variations are a part of this. They were one of the first characters to have male and female costumes. It was a natural addition from Animal Crossing, and it meant Villager was one of Smash 4's several new female newcomers, a far cry from Brawl's having only one. And 2 of those costumes getting darker skin tones in Ultimate one game later is part of that. These are good additions for a series that struggles with representation. Inclusion's good. Inclusion's nice.
I want you to remember that it's a job. It's nothing personal.
Even if Villager is a defensive, slower, reactive fighter, they never look the part. They're too happy to fit in this weird, playable celebration. They fill a super niche archetype that's easy to overlook, but well worth adding.
I want you to be nice until it's time to not be nice.
And that is the mayor of Smashville's secret. Always tricky, always fighting to control the stage, and always happy to be here. If this format was an unnatural way to explore them, and I'll cop to it being as natural as an elevator in an outhouse, that's okay, because Villager shows that sometimes it's good to be unnatural. They're bizarre and kinda out of place in this stable of action game heroes, but in a way that really clicks once you get the hang of it. They make it work. Far from being a random hodgepodge, this moveset and flair do serve a purpose, creating a fighter who's powerful in their reactivity, which in its own way represents Animal Crossing's non-violent and casual energy. Remember, it's a series that wants you to enjoy the slow and easy life, and its fighter works the same way. Villager isn't aggressive or forceful, they're at their best when holding down the fort. So if you're having trouble with Villager, feeling a bit frustrated with a loss or two, don't take the train. Just stay calm and remember.
Pain don't hurt.
If you like this video, consider making this channel, oh dear god, I'm about to say this, your new Saturday night thing. And maybe consider supporting us on Patreon. Speaking of, thanks so much to our Patreons who are all on screen. Real class acts. This has been Wolfman Jew as writer and narrator, and Triss as editor supreme. And since you discerning viewers are not too stupid to have a good time, remember to return to the source.